So, what happens when you have a book that no one knows how to read, in a language that no one knows, with drawings that no one recognises? Well, that's when you find yourself with the Voynich Manuscript. It's a 600-year-old codex that's been driving codebreakers to alcohol for decades. It's been written on calfskin vellum sometime between 1404 and 1438. This book is crammed with 240 pages, approximately, of neat looping script in a language that no one's seen before. Each page is adorned with strange illustrations, botanical drawings of plants that don't exist, cosmetological charts that look like something out of a steampunk's fever dream, and a naked woman lounging in a network of green tubes as if they're enjoying some kind of Renaissance spa day. It's the sort of thing you'd come up with if Hieronymus Bosch and Dr. Seuss had collaborated on a herbal remedy guide after a night on some questionable substances. This manuscript takes its name from Wilfrid Voynich. He's a Polish book dealer who stumbled across it in 1912 while poking around in a Jesuit college in Italy. Before Voynich, the first confirmed owner was George Barsech. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, but we're going to go with it. He was a 17th century alchemist from Prague who described it as a sphinx that had been taking up space uselessly in his library. He was pestering the famed Jesuit scholar Athanasius Kircher for help, sending him samples of this mysterious script. Kircher, ever the polymath, claimed that he could translate Egyptian hieroglyphics and therefore could probably handle this kind of weirdness too. Spoilers, he couldn't. From Barsach, the manuscript likely made its way to the Holy Roman Emperor. This was about the price of a modest castle at the time, because he thought it had been written by a medieval friar and proto-scientist, Roger Bacon. After Rudolph's death, it bounced around in a few European collectors until it landed at Collegio Romano, where Voynich eventually found it. In 1969, it was donated to the Yale University's Beinecke Rare Book and Manuscript Library, where it sits to this day, safe from greasy fingers, but fully digitized for conspiracy theorists to pour themselves over. The book itself is surprisingly well made for something that might be a hoax. Radiocarbon tests in 2009 dated the parchment to the early 15th century. Protein analysis showed that the pages were calfskin, and multispectral imaging proved that there's no older text underneath. It shows that whoever wrote this commissioned fresh skins and decided to go to town. The manuscript is bound in goatskin, though the binding isn't original. Some folios fold out like early pop-up books. Even the ink appears consistent with medieval recipes, so if it's a prank, it's remarkably dedicated for one. But what the hell does it say? That's the million ducat question. The writing, dubbed Voynichinese, flows left to right and has its own alphabet of around about 20 to 30 glyphs. Words tend to be between 5 and 8 characters long, following statistical patterns eerily similar to natural languages. Yet no one has managed to match it to Latin, Greek, Arabic, or any other known tongues. Over the last century, waves of scholars, cryptographers, and armchair detectives have attacked it. During World War II, British and American codebreakers, the same people who cracked the Nazis' enigma, threw their formidable brains at Voynich's squiggles. They got absolutely nowhere. William Friedman, one of the greatest cryptanalysts of the 20th century, spent years on it and finally shrugged. Hypotheses multiply like rabbits. Some think it's a cipher for a real language, perhaps medieval Latin or an extinct Romance dialect. Others suggest it's a constructed language, like Tolkien's Elvish, but created by someone with a botanical fetish. There are theories that it's an elaborate alchemical manual, an astrologer's guide to women's health, a pharmacopoeia. It's realistically just a stream of nonsense created in a trance. But it seems a bit. One popular idea is that Roger Bacon penned it, which would make the manuscript a sort of 13th century science notebook. Another suspects that the Elizabethan magician John Dee and his squire Edward Kelly, who were known to concoct mystical manuscripts and sell them to gullible nobles. More recently, linguist Gerard Cheshire claimed it's written in a proto-Romance and contains tips on herbal remedies, therapeutic bathing, and women's reproductive health. Turkish readers Ahmet Ardik argued that it's an old Turkish language written phonetically. Professor Greg Kondrak ran it through an AI and decided it was in Hebrew encoded as alphabetically sorted anagrams. None of these claims has convinced the broader scholarly community. Then there's the hoax hypothesis. Maybe, as British researcher Gordon Rugg demonstrated in 2004, a 16th century trickster used a cardigan grill and random tables of syllables to generate gibberish that looks really convincing. The text's statistical resemblance to real languages could be an artifact of our pattern-hungry brains. Science journalist Michael Greshko recently played with a medieval-styled cipher using dice and playing cards to create gibberish that looks eerily like Voynicese. And if that's all there is to it, then the greatest mystery in manuscript studies might be an elaborate 15th century joke. But there are the drawings to contend with. The book is divided into sections by subject: herbal, astronomical, biological, cosmological, pharmaceutical, and recipes. The herbal pages each feature a single plant with text around it. Some plants are recognizable. Many are fantastical. The astronomical section has circular diagrams with zodiac symbols, and the biological section shows tiny nude women frolicking in green pools connected with elaborate plumbing, which has led some modern scholars to propose that the book encloses late medieval knowledge of female anatomy and sexuality. There's a fold-out page called the Rosette's Map, showing 9 medallions connected by a web of pipes and castles. One researcher thinks it depicts a volcano. Whatever it all means, it's clear that the author had a coherent system in mind. Whether that system makes any sense outside of their own head is another story. But why do we care? Partly because humans hate unsolved puzzles. The Voynich Manuscript sits at the intersection of art, science, cryptography, and conspiracy theory. It has inspired novels, symphonies, and manga. It lures people down rabbit holes of research, sometimes for decades. And we live in an age where Google Translate can decode your French homework in milliseconds. Yet a 600-year-old calf-skinned document continues to say nope to every linguistic trick we throw at it. If it is real, cracking it could reveal a lost medieval knowledge system. If it's fake, it's still one of the greatest literary pranks ever pulled. And until someone finally deciphers the Voynich manuscripts, or definitively proves it's nonsense, it will remain history's most beautiful question mark.